And thanks to Shane and the Footy Boys, what an exciting game it was. And well done to the Magpies. It's like a grand final. Well called, fellas, as you make your way back. And hope you enjoyed footy on 3AW tonight. And, of course, this is the Friday Nightline. Although I read the program notes, and according to what's on the screen, it's Friday Nightline with David Mann and Simon Owens. So tonight I'm going to play Simon, but the real David is here.
This is the man, and it's just the way he thought it would be, 'cause the day has come for him to be free. Then he laughs and kicks and rolls up his sleeves. I'm alive and I'm here forever. This is the man.
I wonder when David makes a live appearance, I wonder if he uses that as he goes on stage. I wonder the night at the Commonwealth Games at the MCG in the presence of Her Majesty, wonder if that song was playing as he walked on stage.
It definitely wasn't, Phil. Good evening to you, good evening to the Nightliners. And no, with Her Majesty, that was one of the great honours I had in life of working for Mr. Walker, Ronald Walker and John Harnden, and comparing Her Majesty's private function. Could you imagine that as she came out of the lift? I had 27 seconds to speak from the minute the lift door opened to when she was by my right-hand side. And I said to the security detail, I said, how do you know once Her Majesty leaves the lift it'll be 27 seconds to me?
Yes.
He said, Mr. Mann, we've been here for many months planning everything about this. Do not look to your right, but I can assure you, Mr. Mann, after 27 seconds, Her Majesty will be standing next to you, and then take her into the room and introduce.
And she was there.
I thought, well, I'm going to start walking, and she was there. Oh, it was wonderful.
Did you ask her for an autograph?
No, but what happened...
Don't tell me you got it.
No, they said never leave her left-hand side. So the Prime Minister, Mr. Howard, was on the right-hand side. They said never leave her left-hand side.
Yes.
And that as you go along, it was premiers, the Premier and former Premiers, the Governor-General, former Governor-Generals, former Governors, the Lord Mayor, who was John Sow at the time. Yeah. And so my job was to go along and introduce various people, and the Prime Minister would have a bit of a chat, and away they went. But about three-quarters of the way down the line, they were getting to Marjorie Jackson, who I believe was the Governor of Western Australia. Yeah. Security came up and said, would you like to meet Her Majesty? Oh. And I thought, he's setting me up. And I said, I'd love to. And he said, go to the end of the line. Oh. And I thought, oh, no, I can't do that. And I said, no, and I'm whispering to him, standing by her left-hand side, because the security detail was never leave her left-hand side. Yeah. Anyway, he was quite forceful in his speech, and he said, go to the end of the line. During the day, I'd helped them with a few things they needed to know about the MCG and various people. So I went to the end of the line and was in line, and I could see Mr. Walker looking across going, what are you doing there? And then she came up, and as she approached me, it was like a movie where her hand came up to shake my hand, and I thought, oh, my goodness, because she didn't shake a lot of hands up to then. Oh. And obviously she had a glove on.
And you'd already done your comparing, so she felt she knew you.
Correct. And she treated me as if I was one of the guests rather than just the MC.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, my goodness. It felt like she spoke to me for 10 minutes. It was about 2 minutes and 17 seconds. And I managed to go back and get the security footage and get a still. So I have a picture with Her Majesty and Mr. Howard and me looking and straight at her. So anyway.
Now, in all the years, will that be your finest hour?
Certainly one of them. It was a moment that I couldn't believe it was happening.
Was Annie there in the room with you?
No, there was nobody allowed in the room except those titled, the governors, prime ministers, governor-generals, lord mayors. And
was there a meal at the same time?
No, no, it was purely...
Drinks?
After Her Majesty had met everyone, then there was a social occasion.
Okay.
But Commonwealth Games, and the Commonwealth Games are coming up. In fact, I sent something to your producer, Simon Owens, to say a bit of remember when, because they're coming up again, obviously in another part of Australia. But to answer your question, Phil, it was a very humbling moment, something I will never, ever forget.
Of course.
But I didn't actually know what I was doing. I was asked to go to the MCG at 2 p.m.
Only on the day.
About a week before, report at 2 p.m. to this tent, and
So you
then
knew you wanted to dress up. You knew that ahead of time.
they just said suit and tie. Then when you arrive, they will tell you what you're doing.
Oh.
So I arrived at 2 o'clock and they said, yes, come this way. They did all the security checks. They checked the paperwork I had. And I said, excuse me, can you tell me what I'm doing? They said, you're looking after the VIP function for Her Majesty.
Wow.
And I went, oh. And I said, when is that? They said, at 7:30. I said, well, it's 2 o'clock. And they said, yes, but we've got a lot to talk about.
Wow.
So,
How wonderful. And for security reasons, they wouldn't tell you till the day.
correct. Correct.
Did they frisk you?
Yes.
They
Oh,
did.
the whole lot, the whole thing. But it was funny because they took anything that you had a mobile phone. I wear a pager. They took that. I didn't carry a mobile phone, but everybody who had a mobile phone, they took those because they can be a weapon.
Absolutely.
But the funny thing was, Phil, guess what?
The Queen's phone rang.
No, I was walking around with a handheld mic introducing everybody.
Well, of course, yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that with us.
Pleasure.
I've never heard the whole story. You know, Bruce and Phil were there on opening night with Clinton Grivers,
I think,
describing the opening ceremony, with the Queen only metres away from us.
yes, and whenever you say Clinton Grivers, I think of the greats of AW, one of the most wonderful people. But that night will be remembered for something else too. One of the biggest cheers was for who?
For the tram coming into view from Heights.
That was good, but no, something even bigger cheer for an individual, and it wasn't Her Majesty.
Okay, was it Betty Cuthbert?
No,
Kathy Freeman?
no, somebody very important to Melbourne.
Okay. Oh, yes. John Soe.
Yes!
That's right.
Lord Mayor John Soe.
I know, the crowd went crazy, didn't they?
When it was introduced, and the
I know.
Honourable Lord Mayor of Melbourne, Councillor John Soe, and the whole MCG
it erupted.
cheered.
It was a wonderful occasion, wasn't it?
So it was great, and well done to Ron Walker, John Hunt, and all the team. The time they put into the Common
That
Games.
must have been 10 years ago now.
Yes, it is.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's coming up to the 10th anniversary.
You'd wonder where that time's gone, wouldn't you?
2006.
Yeah. Folks, Friday night, one of our favourite nights of the week, because it's sort of the end of the week and we let our hair down a bit. So your calls are more than welcome on 96900 693. What's been the highlight in your life, folks? Maybe the birth of a grandchild, maybe graduating, maybe a sporting achievement. Your greatest moment, like David's, on 96900. Rob and Marilyn, hang on, we'll get to you shortly. In fact, we have 6 prizes to give away tonight, so many of you will go home a winner. But David, you have a special guest with us.
I do, Phil, and it's interesting you were talking about exciting or memorable moments in life, and 3AW is very proud to support the transplant. It's the 2nd to the 6th of March, and the cycling legend Phil Anderson, he's helped put it all together, and it's from Warrnambool to Melbourne. And in the studio, we have a gentleman who's walked in here. John Rolfe is his name. He won't mind me saying he's 48 years of age, and he received a double lung transplant at the Alfred Hospital, and we love the Alfred Hospital. They are fantastic, 7 years ago. And then the highlight, which he said, I've got a highlight. Since the transplant, he's become a dad to Isabel, who's age 5, Samuel, age 3, and he said the greatest highlight in my life since transplant. And we've got a miracle sitting in front of us, Phil.
Oh, John, great to meet you. You look so healthy. I have to ask you, and I'm sure everyone asks you, were you formerly a smoker?
No, cystic fibrosis was the reason I required a lung transplant.
And had you had that from an early age?
Yeah, you're born with it, and it's a genetic thing. Both my parents were carriers of the gene, and I suffered with it for all my life, and got to the point my lung function dropped below 30%, and around that point life becomes very hard, and a transplant was the only option to live, basically, at that point.
It must have been like having emphysema or asthma. It must have been so hard to breathe. You must have felt you were
Yes.
drowning, did you?
Yeah, look, I think the best way that I can describe it to normal people is put a straw in your mouth, put a nose clip on your nose, now go for a run and try and breathe. It's that sort of sucking air in when it won't come in.
And do you know, John, who your donor was?
No, it's a very anonymous system, and the only piece of information I have, it was a male and middle-aged. That's the only thing I know. And you know, for the donor and the donor family, I can't thank them enough. I wouldn't be here without them, and my kids wouldn't be here without them.
And how long did the operation take?
Look, it took a few hours, normally sort of 6 to 8. I obviously didn't know too much about it, and I didn't know too much about it for about 3 or 4 days afterwards. That I took a while to wake up, apparently.
And did they do both lungs at the same time?
Yes, they obviously you've got 2 bad lungs, but they take the worst one out first, put a new one in, and then they take the other one out and put the new one in and check everything's going, and away you go.
And John, you've made a mission in life to help other people. Obviously, you talk a lot about the donor registry, which I'm proud to say, Phil, I've signed up as a donor.
Well done, David.
And so I did all the paperwork, and my wife, Annie, and family know that. But you've decided that let's do something to raise funds for a special cause. It's not actually the transplants, it's to do with accommodation.
Yes, it is. We have a requirement when you go through transplant of at least 3 months rehab and recovery after the surgery. Now, for me, who lived 10 minutes from the Alfred, it meant I could go home and come in 3 or 4 times a week to do the rehab and the monitoring that is required. Now imagine you're from country Victoria, or interstate even, because the Alfred does transplants from interstate, and you've got to put yourself up for 3 months near the Alfred because you're not allowed to use public transport because of the infection risk. And now all of a sudden you've got to find that money. And that's why we are doing the Tour de Transplant, to raise funds to provide that accommodation for transplant families.
And so that accommodation is free?
They have to pay they have to pay a little bit, a few dollars a night, and then the government pays a little bit, but it's not enough for a inner city Melbourne apartment for 3 months.
Yeah, and I understand in the last 4 years you've provided something like 4,000 nights accommodation.
That's right. We
That's wonderful.
started the program in 2012, and we actually did the bike ride in 2014 and raised over $250,000, and that meant we could have 6 apartments to fund, provide for all those families.
3AW is very proud to support Tour de Transplant. And how many people will ride in it, and how many of the riders will actually be recipients of either heart or lung transplants?
So we've got 35 riders, 2 heart transplant recipients are riding, and 2 double lung transplant recipients are riding. We've got people whose immediate family members have had transplants as well. So there's quite the transplant community is very well represented. It's not just regular cyclists.
And are you going to ride yourself?
No, I'm busy enough organising it.
Let me invite you to phone in different nights and give us a progress report if you care to.
I'd love to.
David will supply you with the number, and
that's good,
we
Phil.
can keep people abreast of how the ride's going.
Thank
Because
you,
it's
Phil.
over 5 days, I believe.
Yes, it is.
Starting in Warrnambool.
Yes.
And how can people donate?
They can visit our website, tourdetransplant.org.au, and click on the Donate Now link and give us the money. And our organisation is entirely volunteer run. We've got no staff, so every dollar that comes in goes straight on the accommodation.
And you know, you're a dark horse, because I understand, apart from these efforts, that you've swum in San Francisco from Alcatraz to San Francisco to probably Fisherman's Wharf. Amazing.
I have indeed.
Oh,
Really?
oh.
Yes. It was a bit cold, and I did it with a couple of my very close mates, and then about 400 other people off the boat. But
So you actually escaped from Alcatraz.
yes.
Well, people think they have issues in life, but I hope you don't mind me saying, John, but I was sitting with you, and John brought out this container that had probably 25 different tablets in it.
Yes.
And John consumed all these tablets in one hit with a glass of water and that. And I said, "Oh, is everything okay?" And he goes, "Absolutely." And I said, "Do you do that all the time?" And he said, "Many times a day for the rest of John's life." But
Yes.
you're a picture of health, a picture of happiness with two wonderful children, a lovely wife. It's amazing. So the least is taking the tablets. Who cares?
That's right. Life's great. You know, my quality of life is fantastic, and if anybody is out there has not signed up to the organ donor register, I would urge them strongly to do so, because people like me would not be alive today without a donor and a donor family somewhere giving their consent to donate.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful cause. And I know you're a very modest man, but John Rolfe, please tell David about your Olympic distance triathlon.
I'm learning a lot.
A few years ago, I attempted the Noosa Triathlon. It's a 1.5k swim, a 40k bike ride, and then a 10k run.
Did you win it?
I think in terms of transplant recipients competing that day, I probably won it.
Well, John, from the Nightline team and everybody at AW, very, very proud to support you and all the people riding. Tour de Transplant, the 2nd to the 6th of March, Warrnambool to Melbourne, thanks to Phil Anderson, who is he's won that many medals. It's unbelievable. He's put his name behind it, and may they all ride safely and raise lots of money for people who need that accommodation. And you're an inspiration, John, and to your great friend Jerry Hanley, who supports you through everything. To the two of you, have a great ride.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Phil, for having me.
And in my eyes, John Rolfe, you are an Iron Man.
Right now, I just feel like it's time for us to take that next step, and the next step after prelim is to win a flag.
What would Arch do? What would Steve-O do? What would those blokes do?
Back your mates up! Reinforce any good efforts!
Feel all the pressure. Come on, all the pressure.
We're still keeping this bloody pressure up as never been kept up before! In the history of North Melbourne!
We are Shimboners, and we are proud. Become a North Melbourne member today. Shimboner spirit, one and all.
Tap into value at Ringwood Mazda with huge savings. Get superb value deals with Mazda 2 in hatch or sedan, now with cruise control and reversing sensors as standard. Plus, tap into outstanding value on Mazda 3 with dynamic Kodo design. Don't wait, make the most of the great value now. Ringwood Mazda, a multi-award-winning Mazda master dealer. Our outstanding customer service will make you feel part of a family. Visit us today at 395 Maroondah Highway, Ringwood. LMCT 11143.
Designed and built in Australia, New Age Caravans deliver innovative design and luxurious living. With their superb new range of caravans and never-before-seen models available, you'll discover that design and quality is the foundation of every New Age caravan. Visit the New Age stand at the Victorian Caravan Camping and Touring Super Show and take advantage of show-only offers and incredible tow-away deals on stock models. Talk to the team about how they can make your holiday dream a reality at Melbourne Showgrounds, Wednesday, Feb 24 to Monday, Feb 29. New Age Caravans, for a new age of living.
Are you over 50? Are you getting the insurance discounts you deserve? A 50 Up Club survey has found the average customer aged over 50 pays over $2,000 a year on car and home insurance premiums. But what if you could lobby together with 40,000 other over 50s for an exclusive discounted offer? That's right, over 40,000 people like you have joined 50 Up Club's latest campaign. That represents an estimated $80 million in annual premiums for insurers who want to make a special offer. 50 Ups are the insurance industry's best customers. In fact, the survey found 1 in 3 people have never even made a claim on their car or home insurance. So get on board at 50upclub.com. It's free to join, 50upclub.com.
Join Ross and John weekday mornings for 3AW Breakfast. Wake up to the latest news, issues, and of course, plenty of fun. Breakfast with Ross and John, thanks to Metro Trains. Download the Metro Notify app for live travel updates on 3AW 693.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Buy National Tiles online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at nationaltiles.com.au. Yes, from a sample tile to a full house lot, buy National Tiles online 24/7 at nationaltiles.com.au. All National Tiles exclusive weekly specials and famous promotions are yours 24/7 online at nationaltiles.com.au.
I've got some fantastic news. Prestige Jayco have some excellent 2015 stock. They just have to clear it. So call and speak to one of their friendly sales consultants for this clearance bargain of a lifetime.
Huge savings right across the range of new and used pop-tops, expanders, caravans and motorhomes.
We're talking Prestige Jayco. Buying your Jayco from Prestige means you instantly become a loyalty member. You can receive 10% off all accessories across the store.
So become a part of the Prestige Jayco family, and it is John and Joan Spence, been with 3AW for a long time. Fill the camera with memories, and of course their address, Ballerine Highway in beautiful Geelong. I love Geelong, and I've popped into Prestige Jayco before, so say that Phil and David said to say hello to John and Joan.
It's a great weekend to go down there. While you're there, drop in on Dennis Walter and Nanette, have a cup of coffee with them. Maybe, you know, a lot of friendly... So many of our mates have come from Geelong, like Daryl Summers.
Yes.
And Barry Crocker.
Frank Costa.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Dennis and Annette are the best hosts. They really, really know how to have a function and a party.
I've been to their home, to their garden. Also, my mate Dennis Scanlon is a Geelong boy. He works on radio down there. We went to school together.
And what about the Lord Mayor when he goes, giddy up? Oh, not the Lord Mayor, the Mayor
of Geelong.
The Mayor of Geelong.
He reminds me of the Mayor of London. They're very colourful characters.
Oh, I think he's good. I like it when he said, yeah, we've got the Christmas tree at the Christmas time. They're all giving him, you know, a bit of stick, but it got lots of publicity. When Annie and I go down there, we drive along, I don't know whether it's called the Esplanade, but it's just magnificent.
Yeah. Is that Eastern Beach, Corio Bay?
Exactly, Phil. Along there where the Novotel is. And it's just a lovely part of Victoria.
Yeah, so there you are, folks. Spend the weekend in Geelong and drop into Prestige Jayco on Ballerine Highway. Dave, we have some calls.
Hello to Rob, our Malvern tram driver. I'm getting used to quite a few of the different callers now.
Good evening, David. Good evening, Philip.
Yes, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
How are we going? Wasn't that guy fantastic, John?
What an inspiration.
He is an inspiration. I mean, I'm actually down as an organ donor, or any part of my body. They can have me eyes, they can have the hair on my head, the toenails, whatever they want, because I won't care about it at that point. But, yeah, no, he's a really, you know, I can... It's, and I mean, I'm a smoker, and I was sort of like thinking, yeah, okay, I've got to stop one day. But
and Rob, he walked in here, he looks terrific, he's got a great complexion, a wonderful attitude to life, and he's really given his time to put together this ride, the Tour de Transplant. And I've had the pleasure of meeting John a couple of times now, and he's just, it makes you feel good. You go, okay, you know, people have got issues, but he's had some of the biggest issues in life, and now he's going to be with all the cyclists from Warrnambool to Melbourne.
And he's going to call in occasionally during the race too, Rob.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's fantastic. My greatest meet will be the day that I catch up with Philip Brady at the Ziggurat restaurant in Malvern Road, Glenferrie Road, Malvern.
That's, you tell me it's a Turkish restaurant, is it?
It's a Lebanese.
Oh, Lebanese. Yeah.
Lebanese, and they do beautiful lamb.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's fantastic. Arani is the gentleman who owns the business, and he is a young man, very business orientated, very customer orientated. Nothing. And Friday and Saturday nights, Phil, they have belly dancing.
How can I get that? I'm here 6 nights a week, and the 7th night I devote to Oro and Alice. My two children. Eh?
You'd even miss the belly dancing.
Oh, well,
Rob,
I'm tempted.
Rob, thanks for your call, and very much an important part of Nightline for Rob. I love the way people are, and not just Rob from Malvern, it's Rob the tram driver.
Yeah, it's personalised as the individual.
Very much so. Going to West Rosebud, and there's another part of Victoria. I love the Mornington Peninsula. Hello, Marilyn.
Oh, hello. How are you, David?
G'day, Marilyn.
I'm well, and Phil's here.
Hi, Phil.
Yes,
Hi,
darling.
David.
Good, darling.
My poem tonight is called Getting a Job.
Yeah?
When you are too lazy and won't work and get in debt, don't expect to get a job unless you take what you can get. The work is really out there, and you only have to look. Don't be so damn fussy. Pick up an educational study book. Train your brain, be prepared, at any cost. You'll start off with a decent wage. Look at Lindsay Fox. I learnt my trade at 18 behind the hotel bar. Don't you think you can't do that and study as well as be a star?
Yeah.
Clean up, look your best, and you will catch the eye of the boss's attention. Otherwise, if you won't get off your bum, you'll be in another movie of The Shawshank Redemption. God bless Marilyn.
That's so clever, Marilyn. Thank you.
Did you write that, Marilyn?
Love you both.
She would have written that today. She writes a poem every day. Hey, Marilyn, we're going to send you to the movies, okay? Marilyn, are you there or did you leave us? I think she's hung up on me. Okay.
She'll be back. What she won, Phil?
Well, I'll tell her when she comes back online, Andy. Vivian's in Brighton. Hi, Vivian.
Hello. Hello, David. Actually, Phil, it's Vivian from Dingley.
Oh, we have Brighton on the board.
I'm in hospital in Brighton.
Oh, what's the story, may we ask?
It's only, when I say it's only, it's a bad viral infection, Phil. So it shouldn't be too long, a week or so, and I should be back home again.
Oh, we're very sorry to hear this.
No, that's no problem. That's the reason why I'm ringing. I have a special reason.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and I'm trying to remember, it could have been 8 years ago, I won with my granddaughter an invitation from 3AW to go to the Ferguson Player Bakehouse over the other side. We got the bus from 3AW.
I hosted that.
David, I did not realize what a high-profile person you were. And I'm standing beside you, chatting away and thinking, and I remember you saying, like, it was fantastic. Yeah. And when we finally got back, we went upstairs in 3AW.
Yes.
And you must have, I don't know, Fred, whether you must have thought, I'm going to run in or not, but we saw the secrets through the glass, and you said to me, now you can't go in there.
Yes, I remember the day we went to the Ferguson Player factory. It's like a suburb.
That's right, it was brilliant.
It's out Keilor Way, and we did the big tour. Everybody got some beautiful Ferguson Player products. And then we all came back on the bus, and well, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wonderful. But I never realized for quite some time afterwards that the David Mann I had met, now I know this sounds silly, was the David Mann I was listening to, oh, he's doing this and he's comparing this and he's winning this, until you got some award, and I think you were talking about together with the South Melbourne Market or something.
Yeah.
Some big award that was awarded to you. Until it dawned on me whose was I'd been with that day.
Well, the most important people at AW is the team, not only just behind the microphone, but behind all the panels and everybody, all the staff, but also the listeners. So I make sure that if we have a trip or something, hopefully the listeners have a great day, because without you, we don't have a radio station. It's as simple as that.
No, but still, I never knew I was in such, with such a high profile person.
Do you know, you are talking to Sir David Mann. Do you realise that?
Well, I'll be talking to Vivian from Dingley. I'll be boozed out of here if I don't get off the phone.
Vivian, I hope that you get better soon. I hope the people looking after you, they obviously are. You've got a beautiful accent there. It's just, isn't it so soothing, that accent?
We love you. And in fact, when you come out of hospital, we want to send you to see a movie called Hail Caesar with George Clooney and Scarlett Johansson. And Andy will organise your prize. Vivian?
Thank you so much. Thanks very much, Phil. And good night and God bless to you both.
Thank you, Vivian. What a lovely lady.
Hey,
lovely lady.
Talk to her often.
And talking about people, during the week, Phil, I spoke to Anne Randall, who is the director of the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday Appeal.
Yes.
And they had a big media launch, and Penny Fowler, the chairman of the Herald and Weekly Times, was there. Peter Clark, who's the general manager, Dan Webb. Have a guess how many Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeals Dan's been involved with?
Well, I think Dan is probably now, he wouldn't mind me saying, he could be 92. And I'd say he was involved with 3DB from maybe about 1955 onwards.
Very close. 60 years he's been with the appeal.
Yeah.
60 years. Gordon Bennett from Channel 7, who you know very well, produces all the television side.
Yeah.
And Christine Fitzpatrick, who is the Chief Executive Officer. She's quite a leader amongst people in the medical field. Jennifer Kite emceed it. But the big thing is, coming up is the run for the kids.
All right.
And this is the 2016 Herald Sun City Link Run for the Kids on Sunday the 20th of March. Now, we were talking about a bike ride before, but this is where you have a great course for a great cause.
Yeah.
Is that all right, Phil, the way I put that?
Yeah.
But you can run through the Domain Tunnel, over the Balti Bridge, and the money goes towards, obviously, the appeal. But the entries will sell out because they have to have a cap. So if you'd like to be a part of it, it's runforthekids.com.au with the www, obviously. Runforthekids.com.au. Sunday, the 20th of March, there will be thousands and thousands and thousands of people running with you. And did you ever do a fun run in your day?
I've started a few. I've started the Puffing Billy race on occasions, where athletes try to beat Puffing Billy. Yeah, I've done that.
Would you like to do that again?
I'll get my diary.
It's on a Sunday. I think it's if a Sunday is the 1st of May or it's coming up in May anyway, the Puffing Billy Great Train Race.
Oh, really? I've done that for David Eaton at the Puffing Billy in years gone by. Now,
so if you'd like to be a part of it, it's the entry forms, runforthekids.com.au, and there's still a few posies, but once they have to close off the entries because of a certain amount of people,
of course.
that's it.
Yeah. Now, Good Friday is going to be a very busy day for all of 3AW. I know Tom Elliott and I will be acknowledging donations on camera in the lunch hour.
That'll be terrific.
As we did last year. And I upstaged Tom last year, David. I took some props to it being a visual.
What did you do? I missed it.
Oh, being a visual occasion, you know, piranha fish from the Amazon and a raw prawn award from a television, those things like that. But this year, Tom said, beware, I'm bringing props as well.
Who else was on the panel with you?
Tom and myself for half an hour, just the two of us.
Just the two?
Yeah, yeah.
What did you do with the piranha fish?
Oh, you'll be surprised. I'll have more surprises this year. And then at night, the good news is 3AW is broadcasting from the appeal, and I'll be on air for 6 hours with David Mann and Luke Dennehy from the Herald Sun.
That'll be a lot of fun because it's a big night there, isn't it, with the concert and everybody bringing in the donations and handing over all the big cheques.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I love the Royal Children's Hospital. It's a really good tonic again to walk through there and see the great medicos and the young ones making the best of everything.
And it's only 4 weeks away today.
15 to 11, it's Nightline, Philip Brady and David Mann, 3AW 693. And before we introduce this lady, I will say, Penny Fowler, the chairman, Peter Clark, the general manager, Peter Blunden, one of the big wigs at the Herald Sun. They're all listening, Michelle, and so is your boyfriend, Michelle Ainsworth from the Herald Sun. Is Denpasar in the international forecast yet?
Oh, boy.
Not yet. I'm very sorry. I'm working on it, I promise.
How are you, Michelle?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I bet you've had more important things on your mind this week.
There have been a few things on my mind, but definitely I did think about Denpasar.
It's almost silly but I open the Herald Sun each day and I look and I go, oh, no, there it is, deep. No, Denpasar's
It should
not
be
there.
there. Everyone goes to Bali.
Yeah, I'm just wait. It'll happen one day.
It'll happen. It will happen. We will make it happen.
Okay, now let's get serious. Page 1 of tomorrow's Herald Sun, please.
Tomorrow is an exclusive confirming that the Grand Final Friday public holiday is here to stay, at least for the next 3 years, with the state government saying that it'll continue for as long as they are in power. So, up until 2018.
Premier's made up his mind and that's it.
Wow.
Yes, despite the business community saying that it has cost them almost $1 billion,
Yes.
the government are committing to it.
Okay, interesting. That's an exclusive in the Herald Sun tomorrow.
Yes, and then this is one for the cat owners in the outer east. So there are cat curfews in the Yarra Ranges Council area, and they in 2014 they announced that they would have fines for anyone whose cat was caught past the curfew, and they have given out 250 fines in that time. So everybody who's not locking up the pussycat after dark, then they're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and
The
sadly,
Rangers.
sadly, they do kill the wildlife, don't they? They become quite feral after dark, yeah.
They do. So there is a reason for it, yes.
So they're actually prosecuting 250.
Oh, yeah.
They're staying by the statute there.
It's quite a number, yeah, absolutely. So they're sticking with the rules.
Have you ever eaten possum pie, Michelle?
No, I haven't. But I have a couple who like to live in my back tree and taunt our dogs every evening.
No, but the reason I ask in the deep south in America, that's a delicacy, among people who enjoy Creole cooking. Oh, yeah. Possum pie, absolutely.
Aren't possums protected here, Phil?
They are here. I'm talking about America, David, the deep south.
Because you have to ring Nigel, it's Animal Rescue, to get the possums out of the roof.
But I don't think they're protected in New Zealand. They cull them over there.
Oh.
Cruel Kiwis. What else, Michelle?
Well, we thought we'd offer you up a football one now that the NAB Cup has kicked into gear. So
Yeah.
Mark Robinson has an interview with Gary Ablett, who says that he thinks Nat Fyfe from Fremantle is the best player in the competition, but Gary Ablett, is hoping to regain that title as he returns this year.
Okay.
Gary Ablett
So
Jr. Great player.
Gary Ablett Jr.
And, of course, you've got some good lift-outs tomorrow, haven't you?
We do. We have a weekend and we have the real estate section, of course.
And Michelle, thank you, because when we speak to you, you've sort of said the front page, the last couple of weeks they have been exclusives, and a lot of people go, wow, we'll have a look at that, and big stories, big breaking stories.
Yes, exactly right.
I look forward to talking to you. Have a great weekend, Michelle.
Thank you, too.
And speaking of footy, I reckon hats off to Shane McGuinness. I think he is an enormous asset to 3AW, and I think he is a young Clinton Gribus in the making.
It's interesting you say that, Phil, because I popped into the studio with Andy Walsh, who is one of our executive panel operators here, Adam Maloney, who was Joel Brooks, who was producing, and I popped my head in and I said, say to Shane and to Michael Christian and Cameron Ling, well done, and the extended team there. Obviously, we have other people. But it was a most entertaining call tonight of, obviously, Geelong and Collingwood in victory there. But Shane's remarkable. He can call darts, basketball, tennis, football, hockey. I don't think there's anything that he can't do, and the analogy to a Clinton Gribus is spot on.
Yeah, so there you are. Shane, if you're driving home, hats off to you.
And recently engaged, too.
Oh, well done.
Yes.
I haven't met the lucky lady, but I will.
Sally is beautiful. Sally worked at 3AW, and they met by working here, and I think about a week ago they had their engagement party. So to Sally and Shane McInnes, because everybody goes McGuinness, it's actually McInnes.
I think after the big rap we might be asked to the wedding. Marilyn, you've come back for your prize.
You're emceeing it, Phil.
Marilyn, I want to give you, and you'll have to come up to town maybe, but 2 tickets for the new movie Hail Caesar with George Clooney and Scarlett Johansson. I think you'll love it, or if you can't use it yourself, give it away, Marilyn.
Oh, thank you, Phil. Thank
Okay.
you, David.
You're very welcome.
It's a happy lady.
Yeah, it's already 9 to 11. You might have to start the show on your own next Friday night.
Why is that, Phil?
Because I have promised Q Rotary that I'll appear on stage in East Q for their big charity dinner. We talked about it last week.
We spoke to George, a famous Rotarian.
Yeah, and this is to aid St Paul's College for Children with Disabilities. It used to be St Paul's School for the Blind off Studley Park Road, Q. It also assists Burundara Cares Foundation with local community services. I've just had an idea.
Why don't we do an OB? We'll ask the boss, Stephen Beers, whether we can do an OB.
No, I've got an idea. Recently, Burundara Council fined me $91 for parking in a permit zone. So instead of doing this for charity, I could charge $91 next Friday night, get my parking fine back.
I think something more important's coming up.
This is next Friday night, folks, and it's at the Yarnus Tavern, 840 High Street Q, East Nearburg Road, $75 per person, includes a wonderful meal. See you there next Friday night for Q Rotary. It's going to be the night of your life.
Hello again. This is John Doremus with the Passing Parade, the story of His Excellency Earl Beecham, a born bungler. In December 1898, England's Secretary of State for the Colonies, Lord Shaftesbury, astounded British official circles by appointing William Ligon the 7th Earl of Beauchamp, Governor of New South Wales. At 27, he was the youngest man ever nominated for such a post, and surely the most unsuitable. I'll be back to tell you more after this message. William Ligon, the 7th Earl of Beauchamp, was born in Malvern in 1870. He inherited his title at the age of 19 while an undergraduate at Oxford. A serious-minded young man with an unusually democratic outlook, he resolved to devote his life to the public welfare. At 22, he became a mayor. His abrupt elevation 5 years later to the post of Queen's representative in so important a dominion as New South Wales became the talk of London clubs and drawing rooms. No one could understand why he had been chosen, and veteran administrators deeply resented his appointment. At that time, Albany was the first Australian port of call for mail steamers from Europe. When Beauchamp's ship, the Himalaya, dropped anchor there, she was boarded by a party of reporters seeking an interview with the new governor. Instead of meeting them, the ill-advised Beauchamp deputed his dapper secretary to distribute copies of a written statement. In it, under the impression he was paying Sydney a compliment, he quoted several lines from a poem by Rudyard Kipling. Kipling referred to Sydney as a town which had succeeded in living down its birth stains. By the time Beauchamp reached New South Wales, irate Sydney siders had dubbed their new viceroy Birthstain Beauchamp. The nickname stuck until it was superseded by even less respectful ones. Beauchamp was so eager to do his job well that he might have lived down his reference to birthstains, had it not been for his capacity for saying the wrong thing in the frankest manner. Told that his youth and bachelor status had excited considerable interest in top social circles, His Excellency countered by publicly denouncing that he had no intention of marrying while in Australia. After that gaffe, which was construed into a great insult by aspiring socialites, a newspaper dubbed him Billy Big Chump. He promptly lived up to this new title by making certain scathing references to France in a public speech at Cobar. The audience applauded, but the French consul did not, and reported the matter to his government. As a result, Beauchamp was severely reprimanded by the Colonial Office in order to call on the French consul and apologize. Beauchamp's blunders became the joke of Sydney. So great was the ridicule heaped upon him from all sides that after having served only 18 months of his 5-year term, he resigned. The rest of his career was undistinguished. He never received another vice-regal appointment and abandoned public life in 1914 as a protest against British participation in World War I. Earl Beauchamp died in New York in 1938 at the age of 66. He had many qualifications for high public office, but tact was not one of them. This is John Doremus, and goodbye for now.
The latest news from...
Oh, thank you, Gary. It's already 11:07. The time goes so fast, we have twice the fun in half the time.
It's a busy, busy Friday night, and hello to our friends at 1566 3NE Wangaratta and 1521 2QN Deniliquin. Gee, I've been to Wangaratta recently, haven't been to Deniliquin for a long time. Have you been to Denny?
No, one of the few places I haven't been to. I'd love to go there.
That's where they have the big ute muster, isn't it?
Yes, and the Roots and Blues Festival as well. We'll go there together sometime.
Well, we should take Mike Brady and he could perform.
We could do Nightline up there, perhaps. Wangaratta one night, Denny the next.
On the road again.
Why not? Think about it. You've got the power.
7 minutes past 11.
Now, Joe's waiting in Hoppers Crossing. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Phil. And hello, David. I've never spoken to you before.
Hello, Joe. Lovely to meet you via the airwaves of 3AW.
Yeah, it's great. So how long are you staying for?
I'm just helping Phil on a Friday evening. Each Friday evening I pop in and say hello, and looking forward to Fridays up to footy. And, of course, Phil mentioned before, the big night will be the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday appeal,
yeah,
6 to midnight,
fun.
and with Luke Dennehy. But, yes, it's wonderful to touch base with all the Nightliners.
Oh, good. I hope that you enjoy yourself. You sound like you're having a ball.
Look, it's a great radio station. The Nightline is such an important part of our format, and I've listened to Bruce and Phil over the years, so I feel like I know a lot of the Nightliners, even though I'm speaking to you for the first time. But welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know something, Joe? This hasn't been brought up at an executive level, but we may even get the chance to be with you on a Friday night throughout the year when the footy ends at 10:30 or 11. We might be asked back then. Who knows?
Oh, I hope so. Now, Phil, I'm all excited.
Yes.
I've been checking the mailbox, and I got my pancake voucher today.
Good.
But I didn't get me photo of Oro.
Oh, but you left an address for me, didn't you?
Yeah, I gave it to Ken, but I got the voucher, and I can't wait to go.
No, I'm sending you the photo separately.
Oh, to you? Oh, are you?
Yes.
Oh, great! I can't wait to get it.
No,
I've been running to the. I've been running to the mailbox every day.
No, I'll post that out here next week. And folks who'd like to see Oro, my golden retriever, and his grandmother Alice, Simon's posted a lovely picture on our Facebook page.
I'm going to reciprocate and send a photo of my doggies to you.
Good, please do, yeah.
You like that?
All right, Joe.
And Joe, you will love, I know you're at Hoppers Crossing, so not far from you is Werribee, and there's a pancake parlour at Werribee. I was there during the week. Rachel, I think, is the general manager there, and it's one of their new pancake parlour outlets. And do you know the key word with pancake parlours, Joe?
Lovely.
Yes, well done. Very good.
All right, watch out for my photo next week, Joe.
Yeah, then I'll send you mine.
Oh, yes, please. Goodbye.
Now, Phil, who's paying for all this postage?
Oh, it's only one photo to Joe. It's only one picture. It's not like the Christmas cards, all right? No, folks, I only have one picture to send out. I don't have stacks.
I know. How many Christmas cards did you send on behalf of yourself and Bruce?
Close to 500.
And you personally write a little note on each one?
Bruce and I wrote on every card, and I addressed the envelopes by hand. And in many cases, had to look up postcodes and so on, yeah.
Did you get the cheaper stamps seeing they were Christmas cards?
I don't know, because they were AW stationery, 3AW foot the bill for the postage.
I was so proud of Neil Mitchell today. He said, I still send things by the mail, mainly cheques, payment of bills. And I
heard
thought,
that.
Good on you,
Yeah,
Neil.
yeah.
Do you use the mail a lot?
Yes, I post a lot of letters, yes.
And people like receiving
I
a
pay my
letter.
bills at the post office normally by cheque.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit old-fashioned. Hello, Norma at Briar Hill.
Hi, Phil and David.
Now, I have to tell David, you've had a great sadness. You lost a brother in the last week.
That's what I'm ringing about. But David, you're just the man for the job.
Oh, okay.
And look, Simon does a great job. So.
Thank you, Norma. That's lovely of you to say that. And look, it's a absolute thrill to pop in each Friday night. But I'm sorry to hear of your loss during the week. And have you got friends and family around you?
Well, look, that's why I'm ringing, Phil, to say Ray had a great send-off today at Faulkner. 1:30 the funeral, a lot of people. A lovely service in the little chapel there, and John Byrne, the celebrant, was so great.
Yes.
With the music and the stories about Ray, where we had a laugh, and then we all drove back to the Memorial Park, and another big service there.
Yes.
You know, at the graveside.
So it was a celebration of life.
It was, and then we drove back to the tea rooms, and it was just lovely meeting up with all the relatives.
Are you one of, 11 children, Norma?
No, 9.
Oh,
Lester, his identical twin brother, died 12 months ago.
And there's only 2 of you left now.
There's only Marg and I left.
Yes.
And, and Marg's slowing up.
Well, Norma, we're here for you, so you've got your Nightline family. That's the main thing.
Well, look, thanks, fellas. Nice to talk to you and tell you about it.
Very brave of you to phone in tonight, Norma. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil, to the people that have sent me lovely cards.
Good. God bless, Norma.
Good on you, Norma. Phil, I hope you don't mind me mentioning, but seeing we're talking about great people who have passed away, the funeral on Thursday of this week, our personality Pete, who has been a part of AW for a long time, his dad passed away. And so to Pete and his family, thinking of you right now, but his dad, Ronald Keith Cox, was not just Personality Pete's dad, but he was a part of AW.
Tell me how.
Well, Ron, I used to call him Rotten Ronnie, he worked for the PMG and then Telecom, and he was assigned semi-permanently to 3AW. Now, this was back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, so you'll remember this, Phil, when you actually had to have a PMG person make any changes to a phone. So you and I couldn't just pull the plug out and say, we'll fix this. Now, Ron worked for 3AW directly and for many years at Latrobe Street, 382 Latrobe Street, and he looked after the telecommunications systems, but he'd often be in the studio of an evening while people were on air because it was easier to work at that sort of time and not making a noise. But this was the classic. In that era working with 3AW, and one of our technicians, Jim Hutchinson, Jim and Ron designed 3AW's first live-to-air talkback system. So they created a way to add the 7-second delay. So legally we're in 7 seconds delay all the time. And Ron and Jim created it. So he was a part of the history of AW because talkback just didn't start. They had to have the actual technical facility to do it.
That's probably a reel-to-reel tape at that time, which was revolving around a drum, so that what you heard at home was 7 or 10 seconds later than what we did on air.
Correct, and that was, you know, done by Ron, and I think he was doing a bit of moonlighting, but he became such a friend of so many people, so we called him Ronnie. Ronald Keith Cox passed away, but a wonderful celebration of his life on Thursday, and our own personality, Peter Cox, he did the eulogy, and I tell you what, that's just, I can't do those sort of things, but Pete sent me a copy of the eulogy he did for his dad, and it was just wonderful. So to Peter Cox, Al, and all the family, thinking of you, but another part of AW's history.
Yeah, and of course, remember in those early days, David, of talkback, like I'm on your side with Norman Banks or Ormsby, Claudia, right? Every 5 seconds there was a beep beep. So you knew you were on the air. Do you remember there was a beep beep?
That's right.
Yeah, like the Roadrunner.
And we used the talking clock a lot in those days too.
Yeah.
Does the talking clock still exist anywhere?
I have one at home in my sunroom, which is from Vision Australia. So every hour I'm told it's 4 o'clock p.m. It's 4 o'clock p.m.
Or what about the one that used to say, at the third stroke, it will be 11:16.
I don't know if we still have that.
Beep,
the original voice on that was an English actor by the name of Gordon Gow. He was the original voice of Time. And then I think maybe, did Jane Holmes do it later?
I think
maybe.
I tell you what, I wish I'd signed Jane up for royalties for everything she does with Telstra, because you hear, you have 4 messages and
she's
blah, blah, blah. And
yeah.
I saw Jane today. She was still here about 3 o'clock today.
I wonder how she feels when she's put on hold and hears her own voice telling her to wait on the line. That would happen.
Lady Jane.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got 5 messages for you, and it's me.
Listen, I've got 6 prizes to give away after the break. David, man, you won't be aware that poor Gigi ended up in hospital with cellulitis because her favourite cat bit her.
Oh, no.
But hopefully, are you home again, Gigi?
I certainly am. Thank you. Hello, David, and hello, Philip.
Hello, Gigi. How did that come about?
Well, my cat attacked me and bit me once on the chin, and then sometime later on the back of my leg.
Oh,
so it was a bite, not a scratch.
Oh no, it was a vicious bite, and it got badly infected, and I sort of kept trying to treat it, and I didn't do a great job, and ended up having to have plastic surgery. I've got a skin graft on the shin, and they had to do a flap at the back.
Gee.
And I've got stitches. I can send you a photo, Philip.
But you must be so nervous of this cat now.
No, I was when I first came home on Tuesday. I was in hospital for 11 days, David. And I sort of was, because he'd come here and he'd sit opposite me in the lounge room and sort of meow at me.
Yeah.
But tonight, or this evening, because I had my dressing gown on, he looked at me and straight away jumped up and cuddled on my dressing gown.
11 days in hospital, that's serious.
Well, they had to, first of all, they had to clean the wound, and then I had what they call a vacuum dressing, where they sucked out all the nasties for about 5 days.
And Gigi, why did your cat, because obviously you're a loving person towards animals, why did the cat react like that? Why did it bite you?
I don't know. He's done it before. I've had him for 4 years. He was only 5 weeks old when I got him. And just every now and again, there's something flicks in his brain and he attacks. And he likes to have his own way. And, yes, so I don't know. I'm in the process of doing some investigating with some vets to find out what could be wrong with him.
Yes.
Because most of the time he's loving, but no, that's not the reason I rang in. Thank you, Philip, but that's not the reason I rang in. But I am feeling better, and I'm enjoying the program, and it's good to have you there on a Friday, David.
Thank you, Gigi. Lovely to be a part of the program.
Now, you were talking about last year's Good Friday appeal, Philip, where you were on camera for quite some time with Tom Elliott.
Yes, we were.
Well, I remember I recorded that from my television to my computer and then edited it and put it up on our Nightline Facebook page.
Oh, yes.
So, David, if one of your people who's computer literate can show you.
Which I'm not. I'll get Shana Beavis. Shana Beavis is
Shana's
wonderful.
lovely, yes.
She's wonderful. I'll say to Shana, Gigi rang in. It's on the Nightline Facebook page. There's another thing that I'm not into is Facebook. And I'll say, can you show me Phil with his... What did you say you took there, Phil?
I took some props, didn't I, Gigi?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And is it amusing, Gigi, or is it embarrassing?
No, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, never embarrassed. But I always used to take props on Good Morning Australia, the Steve Byers. I mean, that's my specialty. Television's a visual medium, isn't it, Gigi?
It sure is, and I love the photo of Oro and his mum, Alice. They're a beautiful photo.
His grandmother, yes.
His grandmother, sorry.
She's 11 years of age, and she's as frisky and as energetic as he is.
Well, he would probably keep her that way because she's got to keep up with him.
Look, it's the first time, David, in my life I've had 2 dogs at the same time. It's a wonderful idea because they're company for each other.
And do you walk them or do they walk you?
Oh, well, that's another story.
That's a very good question,
Gigi,
David.
thank you on behalf of all the Nightliners, because I know you and Simon do a lot with the social media for AW and for Nightline and, you know, the Facebook page, and you keep everybody up to date. So a big thank you, because I have not 1 ounce of technical ability at all.
Well, thank you very much. And the other week when we spoke, we were talking about sort of technology and sort of is it bad or is it good? Well, my surgeon uses his mobile phone to take photos of his surgery and keep up to date, like the lady that's dressing my leg every day. She takes a photo and emails it to him so he can see the progress.
Is she from Royal District Nursing Service?
No, she's actually the surgeon's PA, and she's my next-door neighbour.
Oh,
yeah.
Very convenient.
But
it's not who you know. It's not what you know. It's who you know.
They also take a photo so you won't sue them for malpractice.
I wouldn't do that.
All right, Gigi, have a good weekend.
Thanks, Gigi. All the best to you. Ken, I believe, works at the Telstra Museum.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Tell us all about it.
Well, what sparked me off was what you were talking about, Gordon Gower, who was the announcer on the actual time clock.
Yes.
And yes, it's still going, and it's going alive, and it's well.
And who's the voice? Is it Jane Holmes these days?
Gordon Gower was the first person.
Yeah, he had a very fruity voice. He used to say, "At the third stroke, it will be 11:25 and 10 seconds."
Well, yes, we'll put you on next. You're doing wonderful.
So whose voice is it today?
Well, I don't know who the voice is. It's probably working in the back of a garage somewhere in Richmond or something like that.
And what's the number you call for time?
Well, it used to be. Do you know what the number was in those days?
I did, but I've long forgotten.
It used to be MO74.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And, of course, they converted to 6074.
So are you saying it still exists today commercially or only in the museum?
Well, it's available. People can come in at the Telstra Museum, which is in Burwood Road in Hawthorne.
Oh, tell us. I don't know about it.
No, I've never heard of this.
Well, it's there. It's open on a Wednesday.
Oh.
And if anybody would like to come in, we have groups, Probus groups, U3A.
That's good.
And all you do is you dial 1-800-MUSEUM. Now, that's a
Right.
hard number to remember, isn't it?
And where in Burwood Road is it?
It's opposite the Hawthorn Town Hall.
Must be near Swinburne.
Exactly. It's on the same side as Swinburne.
Yeah.
And it works out of the Hawthorn Telephone Exchange.
How interesting. And what is there to see there?
Oh, wonderful things. There's...
The old black phone that we all used to have with the dial?
Yeah, Bakelite, yeah.
remember the red telephone boxes that used to be around?
Of course, there aren't many of them now. Yeah.
And we have young kids come in and we say, right, we want you to dial a number.
Yeah.
And they don't know. They simply put their fingers in the hole and push it and think that they're going to get a number out of it.
Have you got one of the original mobile phones? We used to call them bricks.
Yes, we've got those. They used to, the early telephones that worked out of the back of cars, they had the power supply in the back of the boot, and then they also had a handset in the front.
Yes.
And those are there. We have the bricks and many other early mobile phones.
How
And,
interesting. Do you know my very first mobile phone was a Motorola? It was about the size of a hammer and cost more than $600.
yeah, that's right. Well, $5,000 was the beginning of buying these telephones, and then you had to pay for the calls as well.
We had the late Izzy Herzog invited about 5 of us from 3AW when we were in Latrobe Street to go and look at something that was going to be a surprise, and he opened a company called Mobiletronics, and we went and we sat with some of his executives, and they said, this is called a mobile phone, and we said, what does it do? And they said, well, you'll be able to dial it and talk to people. And we all said, where's the cord? Where does the cord go to? And they said, no, there's no cord. And we all thought, oh, he's having us on. We said, so you're telling us you can pick this thing up, put it on your shoulder and dial it and charge the battery and you'll talk to somebody? And they said, like a normal phone. And we all sort of said, this won't take off.
Amazing. And can I tell you something, Ken? I'm going to give you a prize in a moment. I sometimes FaceTime friends around the world, and you know what I mean by that. While I'm talking to them, I can see them on my screen. You'd be aware of that. But back in '64, when I went to Disneyland, and they demonstrated the video phone for the first time, this was 50 years ago, and it was science fiction. They said, no, that will never happen, because at Disneyland you could actually pick up the phone and see the person you were speaking to. And today, we do it all the time, don't we?
It's wonderful technology that still hasn't stopped. It's going all the time.
Can we do something? Can we get your number? Give Andy your number. Could we call you Sunday night for Remember When and take us on a tour of this museum?
Well, we'd just love to do that.
No, when I say it'll be over the phone, but I mean verbally, give us a tour of the museum and we'll call you after 11 on Sunday night. Is that all right?
Love to do that. That'd be fabulous.
Yeah, because there's more to this than we've had time for. And in the meantime, in thanks for your kindness, because Dave and I were not aware of the Telstra Museum.
No.
Or is it called the Telecom Museum or PMG Museum or what?
It's called the Telstra Museum.
Oh, great.
Because, it's in a Telstra building.
Yes.
And it's probably not well known, but everybody complains because they say, why haven't we been told about this?
Okay, well, we'll find out more about it Sunday night after 11, but to reward you, a double pass to the movie Hail Caesar with George Clooney, and take that with our compliments. Now, don't go away.
Thanks very much, Phil.
Don't you go away today. And I have to think about becoming an organ donor, too. I'm going to be so busy next week. Decisions.
Fill out the forms.
Now, Ken, please call back. We need your phone number for Sunday night's Remember When, and we want to give you a prize. Unless he's running scared, unless he doesn't want to stay up late Sunday.
Had you heard about that Telstra Museum?
It's totally new to me.
So it must be in an old exchange.
Yeah, it's in the Telstra building next to Swinburne.
I think that's fascinating. And when you talk to Ken, can you ask him whether they have the phone cards? Because I've got phone cards in my wallet that go back to the Olympics.
Why don't you phone in and ask on Sunday night?
I'll get a valuation. It'll be like Rick Milne.
You might even win a prize. Hi, Chris at Broadmeadows.
And Dave, how are you?
G'day.
Good, thanks. Well, thanks, Chris. How are you?
I was just a bit emotional tonight because I just touched on something I haven't really explained on 3AW before.
What's that?
Over many years, our extended family are under a lot of stress and a lot of worry about my two nephews from my brother and his wife in South Australia. Two of his three kids have got cystic fibrosis, and as you would know, there's no cure for it. Most people die in their early 20s, even though my two nephews are in their late 20s. And my brother, like a couple of brothers too, breeds and races horses in harness racing, and we've had ownerships in thoroughbreds and harness racing horses. And so I only ask people, well, fair enough, you know, sometimes I bet with money I can least afford to lose, but to be a bit considerate, because you know, we're all very talented with horses and stuff like that, and it means it does fill a void for me to, you know, while I'm very lonely at home and a single man and not really having a girlfriend for quite some time, except for that recent.
Chris, you've got a good heart because you really know a lot about society. Do you help any charities in your area by donating your services and your time?
No, I used to donate. I donate money occasionally to St Vincent's Hospital. They're looking after my healthcare plan with future operation probably later this year. So that could be a very difficult operation. That's for sinusitis.
But not so much donating money, but you know, going to the local op shop and saying, "Look, can I help you, or can we do some things with the Meals on Wheels team, or something like that?"
That's a problem, Dave. Look, nothing to do with young people or elderly or disabled, but when you have a criminal record, I'll say I've got about 4 or 5 assault charges when I was a juvenile delinquent, when I was getting myself in the blues and all that.
Yes.
You cannot get a job under modern times working with the disabled, working with children, working with elderly. And you can't. I've asked my community centre. I've worked in 6 kitchens as a cook and a chef. They say, well, because you've got a criminal record, we can't. We have to get. They have to pay people who've got no criminal records, or they have to get every volunteer that goes in there, even school kids and all that, have to get screened.
And it's a good lesson, Chris, isn't it? Because you're very good at talking about what you've been through in life to say to young people, stay on the right side of the law, because if you get a criminal conviction, number one, you won't get into places like America, and number two, then you won't be able to help other people in the future.
Yeah, a good point, Joe. Hey, Chris, it's your lucky week. I know you won Alan's quiz over the weekend.
Yes.
And I don't think we've ever given you a prize on Nightline. This will cheer you up. A double pass to the movie Hail Caesar with George Clooney and Scarlett Johansson. How's that?
Well, that'd be good, because I haven't seen the movie since 1998, and I do suffer with high anxiety, but this time I will go and watch a movie, because it'll make me see the brighter side of life, because, as I said, our family are under a lot of due stress, and our kids, my nephews, well, most of them don't survive their early 20s.
As you've said that, yes. So anyway, this will cheer you up and it'll take your mind off
We
things.
look forward to Chris's call each week.
Each night he calls in.
You know, he has his ups and his downs, but I think he's got a pretty good outlook on life.
Yeah, and we try to give him our best advice always.
Now, Phil, something that happened during the week, in fact, last night, I was down at the Docklands Chamber of Commerce, and we're talking about surprises in Melbourne. They had a fantastic night where they got together all the people from the Docklands, and I tell you what, sometimes people they give the Docklands a bit of a serve. It was magnificent. They had the Black Cod restaurant was putting on all the catering.
Yes.
Everyone was there.
Is that on one of the piers, the restaurant?
It's on Burke Street side, so it's about 800 Burke Street, I think, is the address. And you go down Burke Street and then you walk behind the buildings, and there's the water right in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very calming just looking at the water. You look across to Etihad Stadium, you look across to what I call Waterfront City and Harbour Town, and there are so many great things happening in Docklands. They're restoring the Alma Dopel down on one of the jetties, and then they've got all these wonderful cruise ships, even kayaks. There was a chap there, and he's got a kayak hire, and then you can go out on these various boats. But to the people, they had this caricature gentleman, Gavin Bell. Now, Phil, who, in your opinion, of recent times has been the greatest caricaturist of the last 30 or 40 years?
I would think Weg from the Herald.
Spot on. William Edward Green.
Yeah.
William Edward Green, Weg. And I said to Gavin Bell, did you know the late Bill Green wig, and he said, I had the pleasure of working with him for years and years. And this chap, Gavin, he had an easel, and he was walking around, and within about 4 minutes, he'd done a caricature of you. So I've got one that is very clever. And people are going, oh, and he said, I always make the girls look good. The fellas, I can have a bit of fun with.
Make them ugly, yeah.
So to the Docklands Chamber of Commerce, Joe Maxwell and all the team, you've got a lot to be proud of. And I tell you what, this was a family business, the Black Cod restaurant, the mother and the son and the sons of the son, and they were just talking up Docklands. So if you want to walk around, see nice restaurants and venues and just the calmness of the water, pop down.
And you know, I hope it's in my lifetime, but potentially Docklands could eventually be another Fisherman's Wharf like San Francisco. You know, the next 2 callers get a prize.
16 to midnight. Gee, the time goes quick. And another thank you to Shane McGuinness, to Michael Christian and to Cameron Ling. Footy is back bigger and better than ever on 3AW 693, and they'll have the NAB Cup matches and, of course, the home and away season, then the finals. It's an exciting time. And I just looked at the cavalcade of stars we have on our football coverage team. The photos in the foyer here. I tell you what, the biggest and the best. And also 80th birthday to Ronald Dale Barassi.
Yeah, how good is that?
Neil Mitchell did the most amazing interview with Ron that he replayed a lot of it during the week. And I think Ron's having a little get-together. So to Ron and Cheryl, may you have a fabulous time, I think, tomorrow night maybe.
Yeah.
But he's a legend.
He's been a friend of mine since 1958, because when I joined Channel 9, of course, Barras was really a part of all the footy activities at 9 with Tony Charlton and so on. So Barras and I have been mates 60 years.
Isn't he a gentleman, though?
Oh, yeah.
Because you hear the snippets of him saying, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you know, all that. But then the Ron of today is... well, I don't have to say it. Neil Mitchell said it, and Neil doesn't say it a lot, but he said Ron has been a great hero of his when he was young, following him as a football person. Then they've established a very firm and treasured relationship.
Yeah. I look on him, not Neil, but Ron, as a gentle giant.
Do you want to say that to Neil too?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I'm not going to call to Neil. Simon's in Colac. Hi, Simon.
Good morning, Phil and David.
Thanks for holding on, Simon.
And what can we do for you?
I just want to give all the best to Bruce, if I could.
Yes, that's wonderful.
And, well, as it's getting close to Easter, I'd love to say Happy Easter to the Perriers.
Oh, thank you. So, why don't you call in again closer to Easter?
Yeah, well...
And in fact, I know you're in Colac, but we've got Dave and I have got this pass to the movie, which I think you love. It's called Hail Caesar. It's in cinemas now. George Clooney's in it, Josh Brolin, Scarlett Johansson, Jonah Hill. It's got a wonderful cast, and we'll post those tickets out to you, Simon.
All right, then.
Okay, I don't know if it's playing in Colac, but I'm sure you come up to town occasionally.
Simon, thank you for the lovely thoughts too, and from us to you for Easter. A very happy Easter and obviously a holy Easter. And also we go down to Colac. Are you picking us up clearly in Colac, Simon?
Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, I'm going down to Geelong tomorrow to see my son. He's been in hospital for 5 weeks.
Oh.
His hand went through a cardboard shredder.
Oh, how nasty. I'll give him our best. Maybe when he's back on his feet, take him to that movie, Simon. That would cheer him up no end. Sorry, folks. Anne of Oak Park and Alan of Coolooria, we're right out of time. Maybe get in early on Monday nights.
Some lines sent to me on the email from John Westbury called Chinese Brothers. Listen now to the story of 2 Chinese brothers, Hing and Meng. Each was devoted to the search for ultimate wisdom, but they differed greatly on how it was to be found. One day their pet chicken fell ill, began to molt, and soon lost all its feathers. The brothers decided that this would be an ideal test case and agreed to each spend 2 months trying to cure the chicken. Hing immediately went back to university, having boned up on orthonology and traditional Chinese medicine. He decided that the answer was a prescription of gum tree leaf tea. He gathered bushels of tea leaves, brewed gallons of tea, and poured it into the chicken for 2 months. And it didn't work. Meanwhile, Meng travelled all around China praying at the shrines of his ancestors. One night he had a dream. His ancestors appeared and told him to feed the chicken tea made from gum tree leaves. Meng, aware of his brother's lack of success, decided that the problem was quantity. He gathered whole cartloads of leaves and brewed barrels of tea and poured them into the chicken for 2 months. At the end of the time, the poor chicken was still naked as a bowling ball. Now the moral, all of Hing's courses and all of Meng's kin couldn't make gum tree re-feather a hen.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
Take care, Bruce, and have a restful night. David, it's been such a pleasure being with you, as it is every Friday night.
Likewise, Phil, and having a chat to all the Nightliners. It's wonderful from right across the state, and our friends listening through the relay stations. And tomorrow I'll be heading out to, well, tomorrow's in 5 minutes' time, out to the Caravan Camping and Touring Super Show at the Royal Melbourne Showgrounds.
That should be fantastic. I saw it on Peter Hitchener's news, and it looked magnificent.
It is huge. And a big thank you to Gary McQuaid in our newsroom, to Andy Walsh, who's been pressing all the buttons out there, and also it's wonderful listening. Alan Pearsall, After Midnight. Alan is just terrific. He has a wonderful show.
And thanks to John Rolfe, who was an inspiration tonight. Folks, see you Sunday night for Remember When. And we're talking about the old classics. You know, Andre Rieu always plays Strauss and Tchaikovsky and Puccini and so on. And we've got violinist Patrick Roberts coming in live Sunday night.
He's fantastic.
And we're going to talk about some of the classics of the past and find out what music you like from yesteryear. Maybe it's Strauss, you know, the Blue Danny Waltz, something like that.
Have a happy weekend, Phil, to you and Oro and Alice.
That's right, folks. In case you're unaware, they are my golden retrievers. They are not my children. Good night, folks. Alan Pearsall, After the News.